Hi everyone, welcome. This is your spiritual awakening and personal power journey 30-day program designed to connect you even more deeply with your own spiritual path using a range of tools and ideas, meditations, yoga moves, and more on this program. So, what have we got next today? So, one of the most overlooked aspects, really, when we're thinking about changing, growing, transformation, doing 30-day programs. And if you watch the video I did as to why do a 30-day, 60-day, or 90-day program, you'll get some idea of sort of the direction we're going in. But I also want to emphasize the real importance of rest and relaxation. So this is about how when we go through a phase of learning new information, sowing a seed, pondering on, reflecting on that, and then learning more information, that it's also important that we rest, relax, and are able to integrate that information because that connects with your own systems, with your own past experience and learning, and it helps you get the right amount of rest as well as always being mentally, physically, or active in other ways. So, especially in the Western world, we are often the go all the time and often need reminding that not just is sleep massively important, but so is rest and relaxation. So the affirmation for this, okay, and it goes along with the hangman. And let me just pull that up so you can see it. Okay, so the hangman, if you've bought your own tarot, you can pull out the hangman and you can look at the affirmation that says, I honor my need for rest and give myself permission to pause and recharge. And in terms of this, if you've grown up where you were busy all the time or you had a parent that was always trying to get you to do stuff, often we could also create an inner dialogue that says, that I'm lazy, that I'm not doing anything, I should be getting up. And our language, our internal language, can become a range of shoulds and oughts, and I must do this and I must do that. But today we really need to emphasize the importance of getting that rest and relaxation. So the hangman, as you can see upside down there, it symbolizes surrendering, patience, and seeing things from a new perspective. This card invites you to embrace rest as an active, powerful process. Sometimes stepping back is the most important action that you can take, allowing insights to surface and energies to rebalance. So, like I said, in our fast paced world, rest is often misunderstood as laziness or lack of ambition. Before rest and relaxation are vital components of growth and transformation. When you pause, you allow your mind and body to integrate new experiences, process those emotions, recharge your energy. Think of your nervous system like a muscle. It needs time to recover after stress. Without rest, you risk burnout, overwhelm, and stagnation. And if anyone has experienced burnout, then they'll know that that is where you've just gone. Your body is just starting to shut down. All the energy in your body is used for your main organs, which is what keeps you functioning and alive. But we don't want to be in survival mode and we don't want to just be functioning either. So, let's reframe rest as a sacred act of self-care. It's not about doing nothing, it's about actually your inner wisdom to catch up with your outer efforts. And when you rest, you're actually pondering, gathering strength, and preparing for the next step on your path. So if you feel guilty about taking breaks, remind yourself this is part of the journey. Trust the process and notice how much more vibrant and creative you feel when you honor the need to slow down. And that is something that I've sort of learnt the hard way, like many people, is, when my kids were little, I found that, like many of us, you're rushing from the moment that you wake up in the morning to get ready for your own job or whatever it is you do in the day, to get your kids ready or find stuff in the house, get to those locations, go to work, go shopping, whatever it is. And we rush from one thing to the next. And I remember going into work, also having multiple projects on at the same time. And when you're in that stress mood and mode and you're adrenaline is being coursed through your body, it's very easy to override what is in fact fatigue and tiredness. So we can keep going. And then I would finish work, go across the road and go to the gym, and then I'd do a workout. And I wasn't sat at a desk all day. I used to be, quite mobile, moving from place to place in the office or out in location, having meetings. Um, and when you're on that constant, literally on that, metaphorically and literally on that constant treadmill, then your body doesn't get a time to really just slow down and gather your thoughts, because your thoughts can be spinning at millions of miles an hour as well. So over time, I had to really check myself and look at, and that's why I was sort of grabbing some paper, is if you did a sort of audit, and you can audit yourself in different ways. If you did an audit of your week, and this is a very rough one, and hopefully it shows up on the camera, that you start to consider your time and energy. So it's like a time and energy emotion audit. 5, 6, 7. Okay. So, and then if you have a look at the time points in the day and what you do between, say 7, 6 o'clock in the morning and the rest of the day, then you start to see how much time goes into different things. So, for example, you can just draw a chart like that, where you've got the days of the week at the top and the times in the morning. So, for example, regardless, say you've got kids and you're getting up and you're getting them ready for school. So I'm going to put an S in here. If you're getting up and you haven't got kids and you're like me, you work from home, I might put a Y for yoga. Okay. And then if you're working full time, imagine, now some people work 3 days a week, but I'm going to add full time, because when you're doing housework, you're doing any kind of shopping, hoovering, cleaning, sorting out the washing, putting things away. That's included in work. So we can call it work or we can call it housework, but it's all work. It's all physical activity. So I'm going to put across in the days, you might work 3 full days. Okay, so you put across in where you work. So for me, I've got clients, but I'll just block that time out as that's when I'm doing the client work. And then a block time out when I'm doing project work like this. And then you start to look at, if you've got children and you take them out on a Saturday morning, then that time's taken. And then you might go shopping. And you start to have a look at how your week is taken up. So you want to put the key things in there that do take a lot of time, like work and housework and shopping. And then any activities, because if you were getting back at the end of the day, and actually that's meant to be the afternoon, you're getting back at the end of the day and you're also taking your children, or you're going to see your sick parent, you're helping them in their house or something, then you have a look at the evening time. So this theoretically is your evenings and what you put in your evenings. So it's about starting to think of doing this audit to have a look at where your time and energy goes. So if you then were starting to prioritize that, some of those crosses can't be taken up because it's your job. And you might work 2 days, 3 days, or 5 days a week. So you've got to put in where that time is consumed. If you are in a full-time job, even 3 days a week, you've got to then you try and use your lunch times to have some time out, to get your headphones on, go for a walk, get some fresh air, because we know that the mind can only usually deal with tasks for maybe 60 to 90 minutes, and you need to get up and do something else. And when we get stressed, sometimes we push ourselves even harder. I've got quite a few clients that will just keep going and don't realize that having a mind break, going for a walk, having a cup of tea, having a conversation about something completely different can help reset your mind. So you start to build your week in like that. And then if you say you're doing this program, you might say, okay, between the hours of 9 and 10 every night, or it could be 9 and 10 in the morning, that you do a program, study, or something. And it's good to do it before bedtime, because you can look back at the end of the day Often it's much quieter. So I've just put a P in the bottom of those time zones, okay? Then you want to think about where there's fun. So now we're looking at health and well-being. So that might be going to yoga, going to the gym. But if you're working full time, you might just go once a week, but you might do some stretching in the evening. So you might decide that I'm going to add some time on a Monday night. You might do some yoga. And on a Wednesday night, you might do yoga at home. This is just give you a broad idea. Okay. And now when you look at that, you can see all those segments of time that are taken. So this is how I approach my week in order to keep balance. So if I put too much in terms of key effort, which is giving out, so like client work, program work, and I don't get out and have a walk, sit in the garden, have some rest time, then what we're doing is we're getting a little bit out of balance. And there are always times in life where there are crunch moments where you move house, you're changing job, your kids have changed school. So you're going through a transition where your time is more taxed and it feels more stressful. But if you can put some time in each day where you just let go and defrag and say to yourself, like the affirmation, which is I honor my need for rest and I give myself permission to pause and recharge, it can really start to make a difference. Because sometimes people sit down, they rest, and they're just thinking about everything they've got to do tomorrow, the emails they should have sent at work. So they're sitting working at looking at their work laptop, thinking, oh, maybe I should have sent that email. And I've got some clients, I think they're in Germany, and it's actually against the law, if we're correct in this, um, where managers can't send emails after 5 o'clock, and you've got to ask permission if you're going to work outside of the allotted contracted hours that you've got. And we don't operate like that in this country. And managers also feed into this idea of keeping busy all the time, because managers can often send emails 9, 10 o'clock at night. Not all, but some can. So reframe this as an act of sacred self-care, and think about how if we put some codes on this, so we'd have rest, fun, work, sleep. So say you just made sure that you had a certain amount of time allocated each day, and fun could just be playing in the garden with the kids or the dog or watching a comedy show. So if you can start to pepper these into your busy weeks, you can really start to feel less resentful, and your internal dialogue will change. And it's your internal dialogue that also eats precious energy. So the tip for this is schedule today, later on, 5, 10, 15 minutes to just rest. Lie down, breathe deeply, or take a gentle walk without any goal, and notice how this affects your mood and make note of that. And then the journal prompts for this is, what do I notice I need rest? When do I notice I need the rest the most? How do I usually respond? What beliefs do I have about rest and productivity? How can I create daily rituals that honor my need for relaxation? And like I said on other videos, I'll put those journal prompts at the bottom. If you want to look at a book and a song on this, the book recommendation is Rest. Why Do I Get More Done When You Work Less by Alex Sujong Kimpang. And that book explores the science of rest and productivity, showing how deliberate breaks enhance creativity and performance. And I know that massively has an impact on me. Even if I just go and sit in the garden like I did this morning, I got up, had a shower, did about half an hour of yoga, stretching, Kundalini breath work, got a coffee, sat outside, the wind's blowing, the sun would just start to come out, and I just sat there for 10, 15 minutes just while I pondered on nothingness and a bit about what I might do today. The song recommendation is Sunset Lover by Petit Biscuit, a soothing track performed for winding down and embracing calm. And there's lots of music out there that can facilitate you in feeling more relaxed. If you want to consider a crystal, there's one called lepidolite, known for its calming properties, helps ease anxiety and promotes crystals restful sleep. And if you're interested in crystals, to know more about their benefits, there's a book, I haven't got it with me at the moment, called the Crystal Bible. And it's great. It's got all the different crystals and the properties that they have. So the research around this, though, says that rest is crucial for memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and physical recovery. Studies in neuroscience show that breaks enhance creativity and problem solving. Chronic stress without sufficient rest can lead to increased cortisol, impaired immune function, and mental fatigue. So, restorative practices like yoga and meditation activate the parasympathetic nervous system that supports relaxation and healing. And that's the key aspect when you think about, where are you going to put rest? If you was going to do some yin yoga or some really gentle stretching, do it in the evening and then do your journaling. And just set yourself a goal, like those small goals, 5, 10, 15 minutes. Do your journaling and it helps your body wind down. What I did a few years ago is, because I like staying up late and I didn't want to just always be thinking about work, is I decided that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'd go to bed at a particular time. And that was it. That was say 10 o'clock. I turn everything off, have a really good sleep, and by Thursday night, I might do something else. I rarely allowed myself, especially when I had projects coming up or talks or doing events, then I'd made sure that and sometimes on the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, was committed to getting the house sorted, getting the things in that I needed, and getting operational. Sometimes I might go out on a Wednesday night, and do some yoga, but I'd still make sure that I stopped at a certain time. Thursday was a little bit more laid back. Friday nights, seeing friends, having a takeaway, going out to eat, any of those things. And then that helps just you wind down so you start feeling fresh for whatever you want to do on the Saturday morning. And Saturday or Sunday morning, because you've now released work for at least 24 hours, hopefully, you can get your journal out and have a look at all the things that you've wrote and what to create for the next week, because your next week might look completely different. So, yeah, on some weeks, so when I was full time and had small children, it definitely looked like that. But on some weeks now, I will, because I work at a festival, it's a bit of a quick, fluid drawing. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So when I'm at a festival, Saturday and Sundays, and Friday night, or no, Friday morning, I'll be driving there. So my yoga will be on the Monday and Wednesday, and I might go gym Tuesday night. And then I'd have clients. And then my week starts to look differently because I'm working at the festival all weekend, driving to the location, got my clients on the different days, and then the programs that I'm working on. So on part of those days, I'll be writing up the workshop scripts or the plans for any of those different bits of work I'm doing, this is more how my June looked. So hopefully this has been helpful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Make sure you have liked and subscribed so you get the notifications, and you will get access to the bonus videos as well, which are going alongside this program. So have a great day, great evening, take care, and leave some comments below. Let me know how you're getting on.